Hey everyone, my name's Dan, and this is Dano's train layout. I'm dabbling with N-Gage and HO at the same time. I'm in my basement. It's approximately 27 feet long by 8 feet wide. I've split the room in half. I'm doing Kato N-Gage over here on the south side of the room, and on the north side of the room I've got HO. I'll be starting an HO layout down there. The reason why is because I got a bit of both. And I really didn't know which way to go. I haven't really done a N-Gage layout yet, and I have. It's interesting. I find that the locomotives, especially I'm into steam, and the N-Gage locomotives are very dainty. I've got two really small units, and the drive on one unit came apart, and so I had to take out the coal tender, which is where it gets its power from, and assemble it a bit. Now I got to reassemble it, so I wasn't too happy about that. I have another unit, and I believe its coal unit is also the drive unit to pick up the power from the tracks, and it seems to be lagging. So I don't know if it's the gears inside the unit or the electrical going through the coal unit and driving the engine with the gears inside the main body. I do have I did pick up what do they call that? A Super Chief Santa Fe for a used unit, and it runs like crazy. I mean, it's fast, it's powerful, and it can pull a lot of stuff. I mean, I've had 15 cars on that little guy, and I'm really impressed with it, but it's brand new. Now I got another locomotive here, Chelsea. This guy here, it's I bought this, believe it or not, about 32 years ago. It's got about 1 hour worth of running time on it, and it's running. I got it running. Of course, when they sit a long time, they cough and they spit a little bit. But I got it running. It doesn't run bad. It's not bad. The other two units I have, this little guy here, and the drive units in between the coal tender and the engine, and the shaft, the plastic shaft, came off the spindle that drives the locomotive. So I got all the parts in here. I just haven't taken the time to put it back together. Now, I really didn't like that coming apart, as you can imagine. Now I got this unit here. I got this about 9 years ago. I should open it up so you can see it. Now, these small ones, the gears are in here. The power pickup is in the back here. So this one runs, but not at top speed. So I don't know maybe I cleaned out the tender. It started to run a little better. It does run, but I can only pull about 3 cars with it. And the other one I just showed you, about 3 cars, and that's it. So these little guys don't seem to pull a lot of weight. So they most likely won't become my main units. Now I do plan to purchase maybe more modern diesel units down the road. We'll see what happens with that. Now I do have 2 HO steam locomotives. They're out as a super cheap set I bought in '06. They have maybe 15 minutes running time on them. They're running just fine. They're running great. They're fantastic. I've got a Union Pacific diesel. I don't know all the descriptions of my diesels. The Union Pacific is, I take it they call it a D40 or something like that. It runs really good. It had a little trouble starting up, but I haven't ran it in over 30 years. I picked that one up in Ottawa, Ontario before I moved out here, and I've been here 27 years. Hobby Shop was closing for $26. I thought that was a pretty good deal. It's got a little light that flashes on the top, and the headlights, everything works on it. I got two other diesel units. They've been a little beat up over the years. I've had them even longer than I've had that Union Pacific unit. So most of my stuff is really old, old school stuff. I got a crane. I got a couple of tankers. I've got a coal car. Basically one of each. I got a bunch of other cars there. In '06, President's Choice in '06, I believe, put out a train set for Christmas. And a lot of them came back because the locomotives weren't working. So I bought 12 sets off them. So I've got like 60 cars that has advertisement for Dave Nichols President's Choice products. The cars are cheap, super cheap, plastic wheels. They look okay, but if you put them up against an Athens car, there's no comparison. I bought one kit off of them in '06 that didn't have a locomotive in it, a steam locomotive. It had a diesel. It runs. I got it running the other day. It runs. It says President's Choice down the side, and it's red and white. So I'll be working with that for a while until I can get some kind of diorama going so I can start using the units before I start purchasing more of them. I have also built stuff like this lately. This is one of my little houses I built. I thought it came out okay. I paid $15 for this at a local hobby shop in Edmonton. I wasn't sure what I was getting, but yeah, I thought it turned out really sweet. I have it mounted on this layout here, the N-gauge layout, and I got static grass around it and foliage. Foliage. That's what I want to talk to you about. Now I've got a large mountain over here at the end, spanning over 4 feet by about 2 feet thick. And I started some static grass on the bottom corner of it down here, and I molded some rocks out of plaster. I painted them black and I highlighted them white, so I think they look okay. But then I'm standing here and I ran out of static grass. And what I was using is I had static grass flock, medium green, was in this container. When I bought it, it was $18. It's got to be at least 8 years old. Now, I got something they call coarse turf. Okay? That you can cover vast areas with this. And you can get it different colors, and you can apply the green, a little bit of yellow, maybe a different shade of green to make it look like coverage. And then, hit it with a bit of glue and it'll stay there. And then you can add little sticks, branches, twigs. Getting the idea? And then come in with your trees after. Okay, so when I purchased this was $15 around the same time I bought this one. Okay? I think about 8 years ago. I had an operation. I had several months off, and I wanted to do something. So I started a railroad in the other room behind me. This wall I just moved here. I took it out of the middle of this room to give myself 27 feet. So I started in there and I ran it all the way out here, and I was using FlexTrack, Atlas FlexTrack. Sorry about that. Yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at. Now, I picked up these tubes here at a dollar store. It comes in a case, I don't know how many there was, 12, 15 units, different colors. Dollar store, they were just under $5 before tax. And I took the browns, I took the yellows, and the greens. And I saw a YouTube video the other night, and I thought, oh my God, about 9 years ago, this video was done. I just happened to show up on my tube. And yeah, I thought I'd give it a shot. So it was really simple. And I'll tell you what the difference is, okay? This flock here, It's crumble. You see that? It's crumble. I think this is made out of foam. They dice foam up real small and they color it. And because when you take it out, it's clumpy and it feels like foam. At least that's what I think it is. But it is very bouncy. But I wasn't about to go out and buy 2 or 3 of these to cover my layout. There's just no way. That gets expensive. I have other places that I like to spend my money, like on track. You know what I mean? Buildings and stuff like that, cars maybe. Anyway, so this video, he's showing, what do I got here? I got some here. Now this here, this is sawdust. That's all it is. Whoa. It's sawdust, okay? You save it off your table saw. Then you take a screen. Do I have a piece here? Okay, I had a piece right here. Okay, well anyway, I bought some aluminum screen and I screened out the sawdust. So you end up with large bits and then you end up with this fine stuff. You can still use the large bits, you know, to show that you've got lumps and twigs or branches on the ground, but this stuff's really fine. Now what he did, he took water and he poured the water in the sawdust first. So he gets the sawdust really moist, not wet, but really moist. You stir it up, comes out like porridge. It's wet, it's all wet. You stir and you stir and stir until it's wet, not soaky wet, okay? What the idea is there is you're taking the sawdust and the water, you're making the sawdust wet, the moisture in the sawdust. So when you add the paint will transfer and soak into these little bits as you stir it. Now when I made some, I'm going to show you the colors I made here. And I think that it's acceptable. So after 10, 15 minutes of stirring it and flipping it around, I put my hand in it, I check it out, and I go, well, you know, it's still a little bit too wet. So I just added some more to the mixture, some more sawdust, and stir, stir, stir. Now, I'll tell you, when you put too much sawdust in, it stops coloring the sawdust because you've already soaked up most of the moisture, even though it's not dry. Okay? You start to see these little flakes that are not stained yet with the paint you've added. You're putting in too much sawdust, and it's just sucking up the moisture and just won't transfer the color anymore. Okay? That's what I learned. I started doing this last night for the first time. It's January 31st, and I tried it last night. Well, I'm lying. I got some products to try it last night. I did this today. So I got like 5 buckets here so far. I made all these today. It took me about 20 minutes per bucket. And this is it here. See that? That's the sawdust stained. See that? It's very light. There's no clumps in it. Now, I noticed something when I was laying it out and I was checking it out. If you get lumps in it, the lumps is not, it's not the sawdust. It's the glue that hadn't been broken down when you're stirring it. So I take it with sawdust in my hand and I go like this. It breaks it down and then no more lumps. Okay, so that's a nice green. That would work, you think? There you go. Look at that. That's a beautiful green. So I needed a darker green for some base. Now, you're going to probably use darker green more often than the lighter green. So this is what I did here. Look at that. 20 minutes. Flock. Okay? Now, this is a 1 gallon paint bucket. It's about half full. I think this costs me about 5 cents worth of paint and 20 minutes. Now, you come walking by my scenery and you look at that, I'm sure you wouldn't be able to tell the difference between this and the other stuff. Okay? And I think it's all about the tone. Here's a different type of green. This is like a willow green. See that? Now this here, I mixed the yellow. Check that out. The yellow. Same stuff. Look at that. Whoa. Isn't that nice? Okay? Again, about half a gallon of it. Pennies. Okay, here's another green. This is a little darker green than this one. You see the difference? This one here is this one mixed with this one. I got this. Okay? So you can tone the colors. All right? So right now I've got 5 half-full 1-gallon buckets. How much area do you think this would cover? Now, if I lay green down, I just made this 10 minutes ago. If I laid this down and spackled a little bit of this, or a little bit of this, you've seen lawns where they're nice and green and then there's patches that are a little bit yellow. That's what that is. Now, I picked these tubes up today. Unfortunately, it's a good product. Unfortunately, these were a little bit over $2 a piece. I didn't go to the dollar store, I went to Walmart. But I wanted to try a dark green to get, grass. I wanted dark green, so that's dark green. So the color you get, now you can only put so much of paint in with your flock you're making. You can only put so much paint in there. So once you get it toned up to the right color, stop. Because more paint isn't going to make it greener. Now you're going to overwet. You're going to overwet your product and it's going to start getting ugly. So don't do that. Just mix it in until it's solid. And the secret is to mix it and make sure when you put the water in, it is damp, not soaking wet. Because if it's soaking wet and you put the color in, yeah, it'll transfer real fast onto the sawdust. The only problem is it's going to be wet. You're going to end up adding more sawdust in there to soak up some of that moisture. The color won't change. Okay, so for $2.29, this was expensive. I could go to the dollar store and pick these up for $1. I should have went to the dollar store for these, but I was there. I went, let's give it a shot. And I end up with a healthy bucket for $2. For less than $2, it's only half empty. Okay, so this is 2 ounces. You use about 1 ounce to a half a bucket of sawdust. And you apply the water. This took about an 8-ounce glass of water. I stirred in the water first, wet the sawdust down, then add your glue, add your color, your paint. Now, these were a little bit more expensive. I should have went to Amazon, but I was there, right? So I picked up a red. And I picked up a yellow. Okay, so I don't know how much more of this I'm going to make. I'm almost out of sawdust, but I have enough for one more batch. Now I picked up chocolate. What do we call this stuff here? This is the same product as the last stuff. I got to decide if I want to make this chocolate. Getting old when you know you need glasses. Okay. Here's a 10. And I'm going to call... I'm not wearing my glasses, guys. I'm in trouble. Now I picked these up to get something close to brown. A brown color. And I picked up 2 tubes of green. 2 of these guys here. Okay. So I've got 3 tones of green. Maybe 4 tones of green. We definitely have a yellow. And I think before I mix anything up, I've got to decide Maybe I'll go with this earthy tone here. And this will represent grass that has no longer been able to hold up its end and turn yellow-ish. These work here, these little tubes. I had to use 2 of these tubes to get color out of these. So this wouldn't be cost efficient. I did it because I had them and I was going to try it. And yeah, blues, light blues, pink. I don't think that's going to help you very much when you're doing purple. I don't think they're going to do very much tinting this amount when you got to need at least an ounce. And these ones here are a lot less than an ounce. This says 12 mil. It looks like 12 mil. 13 mil. Anyway, so I've got my my sawdust here. I've got my water. Now I'm going to move you down here. Oh, what do I have down here? I got flock all over my railroad. Ooh. Okay, I'm going to move you down. I'm going to shake you up a bit here, okay? Because I'm just taking this straight off of my iPad. And I've never done editing before. So you're going to have to put up with my... Okay, is that going to be good? Yeah, that's good right there. Okay. Okay, so here, once again, is my sawdust. Here's my water. I'll move this over here. I try to keep this clean. It's easier. I'm using a contractor's pencil. It's long enough for me to get in there and stir it up. I tried something longer, it was a problem. Okay, so give it a shot of water. You'll know right away if you need more. But don't get crazy with it until you really start to mix it up. You can see it's starting to ball up a little bit. Its moisture is getting in there. Got to get right down in there, and it takes a few minutes to stir this up. Yeah, it feels like it's getting there. I'm thinking I have more in here than I had in the other ones. See, it's getting really bally there. Okay. Okay, so I'm doing this in real time, guys, so I hope you got the stopwatch working. As I said, you can do this in about 20 minutes. Then I meant it. Okay. Get down around the ridge of the bucket. Make sure you try to get down here. Okay. I think that should be enough. Grab it. It feels moist. I'm going to go with the color now. I think I'm going to go with a dark brown. I'm going to open up the lid and just chuck that in there. Now if you feel that it's getting a little moist, you can add water to this. You'll slowly see the color starting to change. I'm going to give it just a touch more water. Okay, I'm going to give it a bit more. I'm going to give it a bit more color. Starting to turn brown. Definitely moist enough. Let's get some more of that chocolate brown in there. Spread it around a little bit. Put the lid back on it, flip it upside down, and we'll get more out of it later. Okay, see chocolate, looks like a cookie. Okay, I'm gonna start throwing that back in there again. Now I try to rotate the bucket so I can get down along that edge like I told you to bring up all of the sawdust, and so it all gets covered up. Now I'm going to help it a little bit by putting a touch more water in. That's going to let the paint pigments be released and stain some more of the wood. Okay, so this part's important here. Don't rush it. Mix it in. The more you mix, the more the color is going to soak into the sawdust as you do it. Now I'm going to show you once I'm finished. This is almost done. I'm going to show you unstained sawdust and stained sawdust. Now this won't come out totally chocolate brown, which is maybe a good thing, even though some ground is probably close to chocolate brown out there. Okay, I think this is almost finished. I don't know how long I've been doing this. Get it off the bottom. Okay. So this is actually turning a bit darker. Okay, so this is more or less finished. I'm going to take a few more minutes to stir it in there. Now I imagine you have to leave this sit overnight to really dry out. I did these earlier today and they're feeling pretty good, so it won't take forever to dry this out. Okay, I kind of like the color it is right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get another bucket over here. Give me a second. Okay, I'm going to take some sawdust from my sawdust bucket. Pour it in here. This will make me, I got enough to make another half gallon in here. Okay, so this is the brown and this is pure sawdust, right? Sawdust, tinted. Look at that. Now, you can take some of this brown and mix it with some green and tone up the brown a bit. Make it look more earthy, a little bit more green instead of straight brown. Now that didn't take a whole bunch of time to make. Okay. You can put yellow in this. You can tone it up with a bit of yellow depending what kind of scenery you want to produce. Now just for the fun of it, I'm going to take some of this brown, a handful, a little bit about the same amount of green, this is probably way too soon to mix this together. There we go. And then you end up with this, a brown-green mixture, swampy color. Okay, so if this dries, it mix a lot better. But I just wanted to give you an example of the color. See that? It's not really brown, but it's not really green. It's in between. It looks really good here. I don't know if you can see that. Okay, so this took me, I think, under 20 minutes to do because the video's still going and I'm done. It's only been 32 minutes. Okay, so now I now have 6 tones to work with. Okay, I'm going to lift you up. Sorry about the jiggling. It's either this or nothing. Okay, so there you go. Okay, what do you think? I'm going to set you back down again. Give me a second, I'll be right with you. Holy mac, how unprofessional, but that's okay. I don't do videos every day. Now, just for the fun of it, I got a choice to do an orange. Like that would be like a fall color. What is this called? Bright red. I don't think I'll do this. This is pure yellow. That would be even more yellow than the other one because I had 2 tones of yellow when I was practicing the yellow on the first one. I used all the yellow up, and I think I had 3 different shades I threw in there, but it still came out yellow, enough to say it's yellow. Oh, orange, here it is. Dollar store, $1 a piece. Deco art. The other one I think is more known for artistry. Folk art. Yeah. Oh my God. It's also much bigger. This is the dollar store for $1. This is Walmart for $2.29, I believe I paid for these. Go this way. Yeah, so I think I'm going to mix up an orange here. And I think orange has its place. So I'm going to do that right now. Yeah, hang in there. This earth tone, look at that. This came out really nice. I think it'll look great when you start mixing some of the greens and yellows in there a little bit. Okay, so once again, gallon bucket. Don't mix too much at the same time. The only reason why I'm mixing up half a gallon at a time is because I plan to take part of this and parts of the other one and experiment with coloring a little bit for the layout. Like I said, I'll show you this mountain behind you, and there's a lot to cover on that mountain, and there's no way I can honestly afford or justify paying $30 or $25 for one of the store-bought units from, Scenic, what do we call that? Woodland Scenic. They make a lot of excellent hobby products. I've used them. I've showed you I have a tin there. But it's time for me to cover a large area, and I got to cut my cost. And thanks to that fellow's video, I think I'm going to be able to do that and still have a respectable looking layout, especially if you only see it on video. You ain't going to know the difference. And I'm going to be happy that it's covered with some kind of color, just so it doesn't look bare. Okay, so let's go with the water again. I'll probably put the rest of this in. It's about this full. I'm getting brave now. Okay, it's gonna. Okay. You put a little bit of water, a lot of water in the beginning, and it'll cut down on that sawdust flying around, going up your nose, But once you got it moving, you see the crumble on the top, so you're getting it there. You gotta have a bit of crumble up there. Still a lot of soft, wet, dry spots in here, so I'm going to put a little bit more water in. I actually think that this batch is a little larger than the last one I made. Okay, oh yeah, this is nice. No, you got to get the bottom stirred up. If you don't get the bottom stirred up, it ain't gonna work out very well. And break those pieces up. This is the longest part, just getting that sawdust wet evenly and not too much water in there. You'll know when you touch it, it feels wet, but stir it in there. So I'm still bringing up dry from the bottom. Yeah, there's another patch of dry. Might even have to add a little bit more water. I don't really want to, but don't forget the moisture is nearest to help drive the paint into the pigments into the sawdust. Yeah, this is a lot more than the other last batch I just did. I'm going to add a touch more water. Yeah, it's a little dry. Now remember, if it's not moist enough, it won't carry the pigment. The pigment will just basically stay in the area that you drop it in, and stirring it up will just be a battle. Okay. I think one time around with the bucket and I have it. I'm not digging up any more dry sawdust. I just happen to have this sawdust underneath my bench from last year. I'm building a 30-foot boat in my yard. And yeah, I cut a lot of wood and I saved the sawdust. I don't know why. I think I was going to use it for filler if I needed it on the boat, and I really didn't. And I had that 3.5 kilo plastic container I showed you, and I had it stuck underneath the bench, and now I'm using it. I'm out now. Okay, I like this. This is wet. This is very damp. Now when you put your color in, you can add water after too if it's too thick, if it's not mixing well enough. So, what do I want to do? Do I go with a tan color or do I go with the orange? I'm going to go with the orange. Let's be crazy. Let's live a little bit. Just super cheap, $1 a piece. Okay, what's going on now? Yeah, it's been sitting for a little bit. I take the lid off. There, I just goose it in there. Now, I don't have a pair of rubber gloves with me. The fellow that was doing this for demonstration purposes Was very neat and tidy. He had gloves on. Didn't get his hands dirty. I did. Oh well. Okay, so there's the orange. Let's see what happens with this. Yeah. Get the sawdust to take all that orange off the side of the bucket. Okay. I don't know how much this is gonna take, so we're gonna find out here. It's mixing in, but it's not breaking the color down. I might have to put more water in here. Even though it is getting mixed in there, but it's not breaking down the particles of paint. That's interesting. Okay, we're going with a little bit more water in here. Okay, I put a lot more water in here. Oh, oh yeah, it's not taking. It's not breaking down. That's weird. You know, it's taking a lot more effort to break this paint down. I guess I maybe should have shook it up first. All right, so this paint here didn't mix the same way as the other product. I don't know why, but it is turning orange. Obviously a darker orange. It's taking a little bit longer to mix it in there. But it is turning orange. More effort to just... Now just to get that paint to penetrate a little better, I used this alcohol. Pulpruine, I can't pronounce it. I'll show you this in a second. So this has probably once again been less than 20 minutes. But I want to really sort of dig it up here. I think this will make a good autumn color. Depending on what you're doing, we'll mix it in just to give it a little extra look. Definitely turning orange. Just takes more time. This one. I'll show it to you in a second. It's a lot wetter than the other ones were because I had to add more water to get the color to bleed into the sawdust. But that little bit that came out that wasn't liquefied, it's sort of breaking up inside the bucket. Now remember, this is a little bit damper because I had to add more water, but that's orange. Okay, that's orange. Now what I'm going to do, if I still have, I do not have, okay, I don't have another bucket, but this is done. Now you can stir it a whole bunch more if you want. Or you can put it back into your container here, put the lid on it, and sit there and shake it like this. I'm out of 1 gallon ice cream containers. What I was going to do is put half of this in another container so it's easier to stir it. And I do not have, I thought I had one here. I have one over here, but it's full of plaster, which I made my rocks out of. So that's it, folks. It's not feeling too bad. It's not like soaking wet, but it is a little more wet than the other ones I made. But it is orange. I'll pick up the iPad again after I wipe my hands out here, if you don't mind. Now, I don't make videos all the time, but I thought this was worth sharing for anybody that's doing a large-scale diorama and they want to cut the cost and produce something they can still work. Now, the sawdust obviously has to be, I guess, see what I can do here, okay. The sawdust obviously has to be wet to allow the paint to spread inside the bucket. Or you're just going to get lumps of paint in the bucket. This is a nice fall color. I like this. Now you got to let these dry thoroughly before using them, obviously, because you're going to use PV glue, PVC, Elmer's glue, white glue, to most likely use to glue this down and then seal it after with the spray. It's got to be dry. This will take a day or two to dry for sure. If you've got the space, you can get some newspaper and pour it onto the newspaper and spread it out thinner. The fellow on the video said you can even put it on a cookie sheet, spread it out, and put it at low heat in the oven just to speed dry it if you like. And I'm not in a hurry here because I haven't done this before. It's coming out good, and I like it. I like it. So I got orange. I got a light green, a mid-green. I've got the brown. God, that looks good. It makes me hungry. We got our bright green. Very nice. Got a lighter green. Came out really swell. We got the dark green, and it's doing really good. Yeah, it's very nice. And we have what I call our yellow. See that? That's nice. It's not clumping. Okay. Okay, that gives me, theoretically right now, that gives me 6 colors. That's 6 colors before mixing the two together to produce an effect. If you want to green a little bit of orange, you're building a forest. This orange and a little bit of green, or even the orange and the brown mixed together a little bit, be it if you add it after you've laid out the brown and you sprinkle the orange over it a little bit and then seal it, Okay, honestly, this cost me, I'm going to let you know, almost 1 full tube of brown, $2.29. This cost me $2, and it's still full. So I don't know how much I used. I could probably try to use more. Would it make it more orange? I don't know, but I kind of like the color it is now. You don't want it too orange like an apple or an orange. But that looks like dirt, doesn't it? I think it looks like dirt. I gotta stop dropping it on the floor. Okay, so that's $4.29. The water came out at the top of the house, probably minute. I won't even add it in as a number. I still have pure yellow, pure red if I want to make a batch of that. But I got to cut more wood, collect more sawdust before I can attempt to do that. Okay? So, hey, if you like what you've seen me do today, like, subscribe. I would appreciate it. It would let me know anyway, if anything, if anybody's paying attention to what I'm doing, to see if it's worth continuing coming up with this stuff. And like a refresher, it's been, like I said, the video I saw was 9 years old. It's 2026 now. It's the last day of July. Well, it's my son's birthday. I'm gonna have to call him. And we're doing it again here. Okay, so I'm gonna pick up the iPad, and I'm gonna give you a scan around quick what I'm up to, and we can talk about some stuff later in a future video. Okay, so I'm walking over. This here is the side. I got my wood in the hallway there. I don't know if you can see it from here. The plywood 2x4s. It starts over here. That's behind the mountain from the N-Gage table here. Bunch of stuff down here. Goes over there. My locomotives are there. The table's going to jump across here. I'm going to put the 4x8 here, but I'm going to split it for easier maneuvering it, and it's going to stop at this door right now. I'm going to bridge it across at this side somewhere and hinge it so the bridge will open. Anyway, that's my HO side. I'm getting you dizzy, ain't I? Okay, let's get this bench off the table. I always have issues on where to put the camera. It's always a big issue here. Okay. I shouldn't have done that. I got a bad... Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, here we go. That's my mountain uncovering. I already got rocks, cows, sheep, and people in the bottom corner here. So this whole mountain's got to get covered. Train goes in there and comes out of here, or goes in here and comes out of there. This is my house diorama I started. Got some cars there. They're going over the track here. There's a railway in the back. That's all the N-Gage. I'm thinking I'm going to build a farm back there. This is going to be water. I got to put 2 or 3 bridges in here. I got one up already. I might keep this loop in here and put a hill in here. There's a mountain in the back. Oh, there's the little train I'm running right now. I got about 20 cars altogether so far. Now this area I'm working in, I shouldn't have done this, but I did. The track is here. All this area here is going to be train, what do you call it? My rolling stock will be stored in here, so there'll be trains with switches all inside here to store my rolling stock. So I would come in here, grab the rolling stock, head back out onto the main line, and do my deal and run around and keep my little brain busy. Yeah. Okay. Crazy video. You getting sick yet? Really sorry about this, guys. Hopefully this video does come out through the iPad. Like I said, I haven't posted anything on this one yet. I set it up. We'll see what happens. So thanks a lot for watching. I hope this helped you out. Please subscribe and thumbs up. Thank you very much. Till next time. This is Dan, Dano's Trains.